He graduated from Mountain View High School. What year did you graduate, David?
2018.
2018. So he's going to be talking about his journey being at community college and then now transferring to a four-year university. So without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself and we'll go ahead and start recording. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So, hello everyone. My name is David Zarganpour. In this presentation will kind of just be going through why I chose Foothill and why it was the best decision that I could have ever made, and I will stand by that to this day. So just to give you a little breakdown of how I hope this presentation goes, I'm going to start by giving a little information about myself, and then we'll move into my experience at Mountain View High. Hopefully some of you guys can relate. And then we'll kind of go into the questions that I felt like I wished, were answered. And so things like my fears and my experience, very broad, and the experiences that helped shape the great journey that I did have there. So you're like, oh, one slide just for transparency. Really, I just want to hammer down just the thought that, or just the idea that this presentation, it's really just about me, my experience. I didn't grab any data points. So I guess everything is different. Everyone has a different journey. So this is just mine. So I just want you to keep that in mind. So a little bit about me. My name is David Zarganpour. I'm currently now a junior at San Jose State. This is my second semester. I'm studying business analytics, and like I touched on, I attended Foothill, where I actually got my associate's degree. You might be wondering, who's that man in the bottom right? That's actually Tom Hanks. Just thought I'd put that in for a slight flex, if you know him. So this is my experience at Mountain View High. I had a great friend group. To this day, I still keep in contact with them. I was known as a chill guy, and would be like, why are you telling us that? That will kind of come towards the end. I was a part of Dance Spectrum for about 2 years and 6-man throughout all 4. Like I said, the Foothill was the best decision. There was a lot of tough decisions I did have to make, but thanks to Mrs. Yazdani and the College and Career Center, the transition was definitely a lot easier. So I would definitely recommend to use your resources. So when it came down to making my decision, no matter if it's a Foothill or, a 4-year, which I kind of went both routes, I still tried to do 4-year, and I still applied, so I can tell myself, I tried. So either way, both of those decisions just aren't easy. It's tough because when I was looking at my friend group and they were going to 4 years, within my circle, there wasn't anyone going to Foothill or Deanne's or any other sort of community college. So I would then ask myself, like, am I doing something wrong? It's just like those things like that. I felt like I wasn't doing the right thing by not going to a 4-year. Every single time the conversation came up about what school are you attending, at first I was very hesitant. I always tried to walk away from the conversation. I really just tried to avoid it because it wasn't something that I felt comfortable. After I kind of learned, after the weeks go by, I learned more and more about what Foothill or community colleges in general can provide you, the cost, the experience. I was always proud. I ended up wearing my Foothill shirt on the college day, where you kind of show what college you attend. And so, as time went on, I just became proud of the decision that I made, and I'm really glad. That's why I'm here, to kind of tell you guys. If I could go back, you'd be like, what would you do? And I would still make the exact same decision, saved thousands of dollars, took the exact same classes, had a great experience. So I guess coming in, it was really unexpected. I did try and use my resources, but at the end of the day, it's, high school is, different to college. You have more freedom. Your kind of schedule changes. In high school, you're used to the same classes, which, tends to be that does then transition to college. For your semester, you have your classes, but then when it comes to the timing, it's not maybe from 8 to like 2:50, which it was for me. It then becomes, it kind of breaks down into periods throughout the day. So that's when you have your freedom. You can do whatever you want in between. You can go for a run or just whatever makes you happy if you have that gap. So I guess the questions that came to me would be, would I take the right classes? I've heard many stories, people taking classes and just not being the right class. But ultimately, what I will say is to use your resources. They provide countless times for you to meet with a counselor before you start. Same goes with, a 4 year. So just take advantage of those, just plan ahead and you'll be totally okay. Another question that came would be, would the classes be too hard? High school was great, but I did end up having a fear that, am I cut out for it? I am someone that tends to overthink. So that probably is why I did think like that. But ultimately you got to just believe in yourself. And that's just exactly what I did. If, as long as you put in the work, you will see the results. And that's exactly what happened. So, if you have the thought of our classes too hard, they are just classes. But remember, you cannot just sit back and think that you're going to get an A. Same thing with high school. It works the exact same way. So like I said, I ended up applying to 4-year, to a couple 4-year colleges, and I got denied from some, and I got accepted into San Jose State and San Francisco State, which is ironic because I now attend San Jose State. But the big thing was the cost. I was very picky. A lot of money does go into a 4-year or just college in general, so I wanted to have the most cost efficient method. So cost is huge. I was actually fortunate enough to get a grant, which I 99% sure does still exist now. I think I just changed the name to the Foothill Promise Grant and then the De Anza Promise Grant. At least that's what it is locally. They pretty much pay for your tuition. They give you like $333 for textbooks and things like that. So yeah, the cost was completely great. Second thing is I just like being home. I know a lot of people just like to get out. They want something different, which is totally okay. But for me, being home was fine. I just kind of love the area that I'm in. So leaving I also am someone that does feel comfortable. Just being around people that I know, and just the weather, really can't get enough of it. And then there's the comment of a 4-year experience. For me, it's the 4-year experience is great. I guess you can kind of take that. I guess some people take that differently, depending on the 4-year experience is just living on your own, dorms, roommate. I personally didn't really care. For me, it was mainly about the education. I still met great people. I still hung out with them. We still went out, had fun. So I would still consider that I had a great experience. I just didn't pay for a dorm or things like that. It was great to be home because I was really work driven. So I was able to find an internship, I believe freshman or sophomore year of college, which was great. I kind of attest that to the fact that I was local and I was able to just find and have just great companies around me. Another great thing is just the great professors. Professors can be a topic of discussion when looking for classes. You always want to find a great professor, and many of the times the professors that teach at community college teach locally at your 4-year. So I had professors who taught at Santa Clara, San Jose. It's just like great because you can get the same professors but you're paying at a fraction of the cost. Like I said, I did get into San Francisco State and San Jose, but ultimately I did choose Foothill. So I, as you could probably have figured, had a great experience at Foothill. It was probably one of the best decisions. It was a little nerve-wracking because it's just a different experience. When I did state that I wasn't as a chill kid, the reason why I stated that is because coming into college, I dealt with anxiety, which I've never dealt before. For some reason, I put, this higher pressure on myself that, I need to do well, I think because of the cost that came with it. But being at Foothill made it a lot easier because I was at home. The counselors were great there. I was able to just talk to everybody, and ultimately it just kind of fixed it, and things worked out great. At basically in every college, you can decide on you find people like you. So I'm someone I like to consider myself very driven and motivated. So I found people who were driven and motivated. They wanted to succeed. They wanted to achieve high things and have really high goals and standards for themselves. So I was able to surround myself with people like me, which was great. So we motivated each other to really do well. Because of that, I did finish 2 quarters early with my associate's degree. So during those 2 years, I spent interning at a different company, so I was able to get ahead there as well. So I can say, I did have a great schedule, which allowed me to kind of figure out what class I needed to take. And 2 quarters early was it was just, I think, perfect. I did end up taking summer classes and things like that to get ahead, which is why I was able to graduate from Foothill early. But just make sure you have a plan set. That way you kind of know what you're going to take. You have options. You can change things up. So when it came to making friends, like I kind of touched on, absolutely. It's not like community college. No one wants to make friends there. Ultimately, it's a new place. There's new people. Everyone's looking for friends. So, as I said, it really is up to you. You're always going to find people who are like you. I was someone who just wanted to get the job done, earn a good grade, put in the work. And you will find people like that as long as that's your goal. And if not, you'll have people who might be a little more relaxed. It really depends on what you're trying to go for. I also joined clubs and events. There are still sports. And in terms of clubs, I joined the Entrepreneurship and Business Club. That was great because people with similar interests, we would work on projects, learn new skills from people who are actually in the industry that I actually wanted to go into. So that was a great experience. So what helped shape my experience? Definitely just to get involved. The next thing is just to stay on top of things when it comes to registration. Just plan ahead, understand what classes you need to take, and also have backups as well in case you might not get your top choice. We just tell you, okay, that's completely normal. Also, just to use your resources. There's definitely time counselors reach out. You can talk to them to see if what classes you need to take and if they end up working towards your degree. And also, stay on top of things also applies to assignments. I know it's tough to say as a student to not procrastinate, but do not procrastinate. Just kind of get things done as soon as you can. With that more freedom comes more responsibility. So just understanding that, you need to get work done, maybe get your work done and then rest. But that can also be done with a plan, maybe set time aside of when you want to do work. For me, my schedule was after school, I would go to the gym, shower, eat, and then start my work. And then I would tend to have a lot of time at night just to relax. Next thing is, I just wasn't afraid to reach out and make friends. Some people might be a little scared because of what people might think, but ultimately everybody wants to make friends, especially when you just are at a new school. It just doesn't hurt to reach out, say hi, like, hey, do you want to go get a cup of coffee? You can obviously get to know them first. You might see them in your classes, but yeah, just do not be afraid to just reach out. And lastly, just be proud of your decision. Just no matter where you end up going. For me, it was harder for the first because I didn't the first few weeks because I didn't really have anyone around me to, except for the College and Career Center to say like, good job on your decision. But just the people around you, seeing my friends going to a 4 year as though it was like a like an award or some sort of medal. Um, Really, community college is the same level, and you're still able to succeed. So just really just be proud because you earned it, you deserved it, and hopefully that ends up happening. So I'd say the major differences between high school and college, kind of touched on some of these, but definitely more freedom. You get to choose your own classes. That kind of comes down to timing, schedule, figure out what is best for you. Um, you don't need to cram yourself with classes, understand yourself. How much can you take? So then that comes back to pacing yourself. If you want to finish just in 2 years, how many classes do you need to take to kind of finish? So that's kind of what I did. Understood how much I'm able to take, including with that, anxiety came in, stuff like that, just finding out how much homework or how much load I could take. There's also more opportunities to get involved. If I remember correctly, there was a great number of clubs at Mountain View High when I was there, but at college, I mean, there could be a club for anything that you have a passion for, golfing, whatever it is. Really just go out and just get involved. That's also a great way to make friends. Next thing is you have to be a little more self-motivated and kind of proactive. Things aren't just going to be, some people just, I guess, how should I say this? Like you kind of have to go out and do things for yourself. Planning your classes is one of those things. Even if that's just going out to talk to a counselor, going after assignments that might have been missing for some reason, things like that. You just kind of got to go after it. And, usually when I go after it, I feel good about myself. So then you can go buy yourself a coffee or something to celebrate. Like I kind of touched on, everyone there, whoever you are like, has similar interests than you. And, it's just funny how kind of things work out and you end up meeting them if they're in your classes or events outside or down the street, or, in like another class when you're passing by through classes. So you don't have to worry about being, quote unquote, different. I do want to kind of hammer this note down is that whatever you did in high school, take this with a grain of salt, but it just does not matter in college. So a bad high school experience does not mean you'll have a bad college experience. I personally had a great high school experience. I did have a good college experience, but that's just because of the decisions that I made in terms of my classes. Don't think that just because maybe your high school experience wasn't great, that's going to then lead on to college. Completely different, new people, different people. So you kind of just go in with an open mindset and just be proud of who you are, because you're ultimately going to find people just like you, same humor and everything, same passion, same drive. So I would say the biggest tips, if you are on the fence, the questions that I ask myself is, will I be happy with the 4-year school that I go to? Like I said, I did apply to a few 4 years and ended up getting, hearing back. I also got denied by many. But I did hear back and got into, San Jose State. I also finished high school, maybe to give some perspective, with like a 3.5 GPA or around those lines. So I definitely had the choice to go to a 4-year, but I knew myself that with the schools that I got into, I just wouldn't be happy. I just wanted to be proud of the school, and at that moment, and taking everything into consideration, costs and everything, I had a feeling that I would, be more happy at a community college. And then I kind of asked myself, why am I on the fence? For me, I was looking at other people. So then, ask yourself that question. And when you ask these questions, or any question that you feel like might help you on your decision making, just really be honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, it's a decision for yourself. No one's going to affect the way you think. Everything is just up to you. And so that kind of comes to my next point is, in a few years from now, the decision that you make is going to be because of the decision that you believe will benefit you the most, not because of what other people are going to think. If I base on what other people thought, I just wouldn't have been happy, and I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. And then the next question is just, what do you want out of your experience? Some people really want that 4-year experience, which I'm not saying to not do it. Just figure out what you want for yourself, and then that can come back to research. I felt like I could get the exact same experience that I personally wanted at a 2-year at a community college. And so that's, I did my own research with the college and career help. And so we kind of looked at the things that I thought would benefit me. And then I kind of took that to my decision making. Last but not least, just listen to your heart. I think we all know what's the right decision sometimes. And don't try and put it to the side. Just really listen to yourself, and take everything into consideration, and just make that leap. So ultimately you will, again, it will be tough, no matter what decision you make, but it will definitely be worth it if you just follow what you believe will make you really happy. So that's all I have. If I maybe didn't touch on anything that you kind of were hoping to hear, you have extra questions, just email me. Email's on the screen, david.zarganpour@San Jose State University. And thank you so much for having me, Mountain View. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, David. That was a great presentation. I really appreciate it.